Hey guys, welcome back and let's continue with next part. So today's class, guys, is very important, or I can say we are going to set the base concept for our future classes. Okay, so I would like to welcome you back guys, in our microservices training. Right, today I would like to introduce you one tool or one framework that we're going to use very extensively in our upcoming setup, right? In setting up the microservices, from the development to connections to deployment on the cloud native or maybe in containers world, whatever we will do in the future. Okay, we will use this framework in the future classes, right? So my discussion for today's class will be more on the Quarkus. So the one tool we will use, why this tool, why not other, what is the extra benefit this tool will provide, okay, as a Quarkus, as a tool. As we progress in this program, we will discuss on it, right? So I don't want to invest much time right now to explain you the facility or the uniqueness about this tool. Okay, so as we progress, I keep on explaining you the unique facility what Quarkus provide to you in this world of microservices, right? Because we have some other tool also as a competitor of Quarkus, like Spring Boot or Micronauts, right? And some maybe more tools we have. So why Quarkus? That's a different point we will discuss. Okay, so today, guys, we will talk more about Quarkus because setting up this tool is also very interesting. And then after setting up this tool or this lab, okay, then on the top of this, we will do and build a lot of things, right? So this is one big plan for today. But before I start this topic, let me very quickly revise some very quick information about microservices, right? Even though what I discussed you in my last class, that was not a complete information about the microservices. This is like a kind of quick start kind of things that give you some term what is microservices, right? So let me very quickly revise. And as we progress, I keep on building and adding new facility on top of this, right? Main plan for today is to start the Quarkus. And what is why Quarkus? What is this? You automatically understand in some minute. Okay, so let's say we have planned to create. We have some idea and we have planned to create some software that is also known as app or application, right? There's a plan. Now it is your choice how you're going to create this app, how you're going to design this app, or how and what architecture you want to use. Okay, so let's say I want to design some social media app, or maybe I want to design some kind of connections app, especially in the world of professional, right? For example, LinkedIn. Okay, so let's say I would like to create some LinkedIn kind of app. So now it is your choice. Okay, it will be purely your choice which programming language you want to use for building this app. Let's say I would like to go for programming language called Java. That would be your choice. But important thing is how you're going to build, what kind of architecture you want to use, what kind of design you want to use, the design pattern you want to use, what are design pattern. We have a detailed discussion in upcoming classes. But let's say at least we know one thing. Maybe I can do one thing. I can create one single programming file, and all the facility I want to add in the LinkedIn kind of site, I will add here. Okay, especially maybe I have a search button here. Okay, or facility maybe I have a profile page here. Maybe I have the home page where I can see the current post, whatever we have here. Okay, obviously maybe I can post new post over here. Okay, so depend, guys. So I can write the entire facility or the feature or functionality in one big code, one big program, one big software. You guys know it's called monolith or monolithic. But in my last class, I told you there's a lot of challenges we have, and we see some more challenges in as we progress in this program. So what I can do, okay, depend upon the your business also, how you organize your team, or whatever the way they want to organize. So what can we do for every facility? For example, I want to give this app a facility for searching. Okay, for searching is a one facility, one feature. Okay, one part of my big app. My big app is linkedin.com. But for searching, we can give this entire responsibility, okay, to one of the team. Sorry, one of the team. And we'll ask them, use your mind, use your capability, use your way, which programming language you want to use. And because you're searching here, so you might have some data. So you can use some databases, which database you want to use. Okay, for searching and something like this. Okay, but for the it means this is one functionality, and I want to give you individual kind of facility that you decide how you want to create this. Okay, but our use case is very simple. Anybody come here, and with the search about the job, about some connections, about some pages, whatever you can search, you will show them a proper output. Okay, so what we describe here, we describe here is one thing, that anyone who use this facility, maybe let me use the word called functionality here, or maybe anybody want to use this service, only one service, that is called searching service here. Okay, so they will give an input to you, and based on the input, use this input, put inside your function, do some kind of processing, and give them the output. Give them the output. Okay, now what output you give depend upon what facility you would like to you have created here, what you have code here. And in our case, the facility or the service or functionality is searching. That's what they give you. Okay, now it is your choice. This facility is a code, and that code you can write in this bigger program, monolith program. You can write some code here, maybe hundreds of thousands of lines of code you write here in the same big program. It's called monolith. But only challenge is that way I explained in my last class. Okay, we don't know how frequently this facility is used by my customers. They might not be using, or maybe suddenly something happened and everybody starts searching about the news and something, about some article maybe. Okay, so we don't know how suddenly this will be kicking. Only this part and this facility start searching more. So means we need more resources, because if you want to run some program or some function, you need compute unit. Especially when I say compute unit, it means your RAM, means memory. You need CPU. So for this facility only, if you want to give more compute unit or more resources, maybe network also, maybe hard disk also. Okay, so for this, what can we do? We can better plan. We can create a better architecture, rather than we put rather than we put this functionality inside big program, because there are other functionality also, other functions also. So if you want to give more resources, more RAM and CPU to this function, like a search function, we might have chat function also here. We might also have a login function also over here. To give more resources, okay, to this function, so we have to scale it. And if you scale, then I can scale this individual. Every entire program will scale. Okay, but they don't need other part of this program don't need this. That's what I explained in my last class. Okay, so what can we do? Whichever functionality you think you want to manage individually, individual team you want to you want they will manage for you, or maybe you feel this function in the future you want to remove, or maybe new function gonna come up, or maybe this functionality you want to manage as a resources perspective, as a physical resource I'm talking about, or infrastructure I'm talking about individually. So these are some basic few if you have there in the mind. So what can you do? You can make this functionality as a separate app, rather you give this functionality as a function of one app. App means like a program file. Okay, what can you do? You can make this entire functionality as a separate app, small app, mini app, and this mini app is called microservices. So you can make this as a separate microservices. And now this is like a small app or mini app. Different team can handle different. We can launch this app in different infrastructure. Okay, maybe I can launch this app in some of the cloud. We can launch this app in some of the container technology, like Docker, like Kubernetes. That's what we mostly use, or maybe OpenShift, for example. Or Shift, for example, or we can launch somewhere else. Okay, so as the need come up, we can scale it. Horizontal scaling we can do, or maybe sometimes vertical scaling also. Okay, so all kind of management we can do very, very easy and quickly. Okay, the point here is this: what we discussed already in my last class. The point here is we need. Okay, we need. Let's add one more point here. Let's say this functionality, because finally they are service, but it is more like a function that you create in some programming language. And for this, you need some language. And let's say you use a language called Java to run it, or to create this. Okay. So my point here is this is one microservice we have. We have some more microservices. Maybe we have some microservices for posting. So this microservice, guys, where I post, say, hey all, and I submit. Okay. So by chance, this microservice is only taking the input. Okay, they're not giving me output back. For example, when I click on post, they take the input. They take the input. Okay. So if you talk about this post part, again, this is one functionality. Maybe they're running a different app or small app. This is called microservice. Okay. So this app of posting is one kind of service. Let me use the word service, or maybe microservice here. Okay, is only taking the input from me. Maybe my text input, image input, video input. Okay, they're only taking the input. But when I submit, they're not giving me back. For example, if I submit here, they don't give you any output that is posted and something like this. But in the search app, if I search, for example, if I search about, let's say, Linux world. Okay, Linux world. So I'm typing here input, and if I enter, they give me output also. Some information they give me back. So depend, guys. Every functionality or the microservice depend. Someone take the input, okay, and someone take the input and they give the output. Somebody only take the input only. And there's a possibility some other facilities going on, some other services going on, function going on, let's say microservice going on. Okay, they only give me output. You don't ask for the input. They keep on giving me the outputs only. Okay, one of the example, maybe, for example, if you go for your feed, you're not asking to give me the feed. Okay, they keep on giving the feed to us. Okay, feed to us. Okay, so depend, guys, what you want from microservices. You want to input, then output, only input, only output. Okay, it depends. And sometimes, okay, sometimes let's say individual microservice. There's sometimes, okay, your one microservice is one functionality, other microservice other functionality. They also communicate to each other. So this microservice say Microservice 1, this is microservice 2. Okay, this microservice 2 needs some information. So they go to this microservice, ask, I'm requesting some information from you. You have this information. Either you have your own personal database or you are a program, just process it. Okay, give me back the response. Okay, this is called request response kind of setup between two microservices. Okay, and then this microservice will consume this information for whatever the purpose they are consuming. It can be possible. Okay, but almost every microservice is taking the input, giving the output, connect to each other. But after they connect to each other, they build this big complex application. For example, LinkedIn. Okay, everybody is different. Okay, showing this ad is also different microservice, chat option is different microservice, search is different microservices, posting, showing the output different microservices. Everybody is connected to each other. Maybe when I post, my data is stored there, and that other microservice will fetch this data from there. And they show me the post here. Okay, so after having hundreds, tens, and hundreds, thousands of microservices, I told you in my last class, if we talk about Netflix, they are running thousands of microservices. Every microservice has different responsibility, maybe managed by different team, maybe run by different programming languages. This is called polyglot concept. Okay, and then your entire app will come up. Okay, why multi microservice we need? Some hint I have given to you already, but as we progress, we will talk more about it. So this was a very quick information what we have done in my last class. Okay, but this example, what I'm trying to build here. Okay, what I'm trying to build here, if one microservice is running, that is almost equal to one function. Okay, almost equal to one function or one functionality, but here this functions work as a complete individual isolated program, but this program is one single thing to do, one single service to provide. So that's what we use the term microservice. Okay, microservice, not server. Now, main thing here is it means microservice wherever you run is like a box, like a black box. Something is happening behind the scene. Who know? Developer know. But who will use this microservices? Okay, what they can do, they can request and they will respond. Okay, now for request, who will request? Maybe we as a human being request this, or maybe other microservice number 2, for example, this is a microservice number 1, they will request. Okay, so the communication between the microservices, between two microservices, or we as a microservice, we to communicate what we're looking for. Okay, so for communication we need certain protocol. Okay, because mostly one microservice might be running in AWS cloud, other microservice might run in other cloud also. That can be kind of setup we might have, multi-cloud setup might have. Okay, but technically, though multiple microservice, there's a different app running a different computer, running a different app, running a different computer, and obviously they will communicate over the network. So we need certain protocol, okay, so that they can communicate. And one of the standard protocol in the market that we is very easily is available, is standard, is HTTP protocol. So mostly microservices use a protocol. HTTP, or maybe in secure way is called HTTPS protocol, so they can transfer the data here and there. I'm talking about the protocol. Okay, but this protocol is very generic. Okay, there's a lot of standard available in the market. This is called multiple specification available in the market. So mostly in the microservice world, we use some kind of standard specification, standard, kind of guidelines, I can say, or standard rules, I can say, to transfer the data and to get the data. Okay, those are known as REST APIs. So what REST API? This is not the perfect example, but we have a big discussion on REST API. I will explain you everything about REST API from very zero to all the advanced, even though we are going to create lots of REST APIs. Okay, but in simple term, what I'm trying to tell you right now is that if two microservices and more than two microservices, maybe one and two, how they communicate, how they transfer the data. So they use a REST API. What are this? We will discuss in very detail. Some part today, and upcoming class we will discuss more about it. Okay. So this is one point. So it means, okay. So those who don't know REST API, you can think it's not a protocol, but think just for some time. It is a kind of protocol through which we can transfer the data between two computers, or between two programs, or between two microservices. Okay. For some time, those who don't know, just think in this way. Otherwise, we'll discuss about REST API in very, very detail. Okay. Now, this is one point. One more point I want to add here. Okay. If you talk about any program, maybe monolithic, microservice, mobile app, web app, desktop app, if you talk about any program, or I can say any application, is the better term of word to say. Okay. Mostly any app or any program, okay, deal with the data. You have to, they do something on the data. Maybe they might doing some simple mathematics 5 plus 2, but they need 5 and 2. They need data, then only they do some operation plus here. So whatever the application or the program or microservice do for you, they deal with the data. You have to provide the data. Either they have the data already, or you have to provide, but they deal with the data. Without data, there's no meaning of any programs. Okay, this is one thing. So it means if you're running one service or the functionality function, maybe that is almost equals to one microservice. Okay, then this microservice will do something for you, do some functionality for you. Okay, but this microservice need data. For example, in searching, I'm searching here. They need some input from you, input data from you. What I want to search, for example, search for Linux world. If you don't give this data or this information, how they know what you want? Or behind the scene, they have a lot of data already, lots of accounts, portals they have, blogs they have, posts they have. From they search the thing for you. So either you give the input or take the output, right? It's the game of data. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Okay. Now, in this context, whenever let's say we are the human being, if we want to communicate to microservices, okay, or let's say one app, almost the same thing, or let's say one kind of program, okay, and this program have a duty of searching. Okay, so if you go to this program and say that I am looking for Linux world, and I want to search this. So I'm giving you this data. Okay, and data is Linux world and name. I want to take this data as an input. Okay, and after you take this data as an input, what I want, you search, do some processing on it, and here obviously your search microservice search app, just give me information back, reply me back, or respond me back. So technically what I'm doing here, I'm requesting, okay, with data also. It is mostly like this. If you go to Google, they say, I am search engine for you, but I don't know what you're looking for. But let's say I'm looking for Linux. I'm giving this information, enter, and based on the information, they give the output to me. So technically what we are doing two things. Here in this example, first, we're requesting Google to search. So internally, we connected to Google, one of the app, one of the service. Okay, for example, if you see Google, this is the one of service we connected. Okay, and then we asked Google that we are giving some information also, because this service needs some input. Okay, so we're giving this input here. Whatever type here come over here, and we're giving this input to your program, and based on this program, give me the output. Okay, and output will be obviously the search result. For example, let's say I'm looking for Red Hat. So I just type here and change. I'm giving this some input. Based on input, just give me the output. Okay. So my point here is, in this example, you are requesting to search. Okay, but at the same time, you have to give the input. Okay, the input. So finally, guys, what I'm trying to tell you guys, I'm trying to give you multiple scenario here that what we mostly do. Okay, but all this scenario, if I try to collect together, so I can say we have some data somewhere. Okay, we have some data somewhere. So we as a user who is going to use this data, not directly with the help of some program, because program has a one, they know how to do something on the data. Okay, so we as a user, okay, what can we do? So mostly guys, there's 4 different operations we can do on the data. Okay, one operation would be if data is available, so we can request to this program and say, now do one thing. I'm requesting you, can you help me to show the data? Means I want to read the data. So read is one of the requests you can do to the program. So they can read the data and give to you. Other thing, what can you do? What can you do? Maybe some data they might don't have. Let's say they don't have the information about me. So I can say, I'm just giving some information to you. Can you add the data or create the data there? Okay. So this is one operation that you can do is a create operation. Or maybe there's some data already there. Let's say about Tom. I want this information or record I want to remove. So we can do one data called delete operation. Or obviously some data already there, but I want to update something. Let's say I have a Tom mobile number, mobile number change. I want to update this. So one other operation we can do is update. So mostly in data, wherever you go, from programming world to database world, we always do this 4 operation. And this operation you guys might know, CRUD, it is known as CRUD operation. So you normally do the CRUD operation, okay, or CRUD operation on the data. Okay, who want to do this operation? User of it, client, customer maybe. But who decide what we will give you? It's not like this user can say, I can delete this. For example, in the Google, I can't delete this website. Okay, I can't delete it. In the Google, I'm requesting they're giving the information. So here I have only way we can read things. Okay, we don't have any facility given by Google that you can create new things and delete the data and update the information. I can't do it. Only thing that Google is providing me here read. So it is up to the developer of the application or the program what facility they want to give us. It means whoever develop this program, they decide they want to give the read operation, create, delete, or update. Whatever they decide, that's what we provided to you. You can't decide. I mean, whatever they give you the facility, okay, that's what you can use. Okay, you can use. So this is just a concept name, terms, that's all, nothing else. Okay, but why I'm discussing this term here? Because this program is like a microservice. Okay, let's say program is a microservice. Okay, and now whoever create your microservice, like a microservice running in one system, like a small app, maybe running a Docker or Kubernetes on cloud or VM, local system, does not matter. Okay, your microservice is running here. Okay, that is equals to your program. Equals to program. So whoever develop this program or this functionality, that developer will decide, depend upon the requirement, that anyone who is going to use the microservices, mostly sometimes also known as consumer, who consume these microservices. Okay, so they obviously they will go and connect these microservices over the network with the help of way called REST API. That's what we discuss a little bit today and more detail in my upcoming classes. Okay, so they will go via this network way, this standard protocol way. Okay, but this microservice will decide what facilities they want to give you. They say, no, I can only give you the, if you come to me, I can only give you the facility of read. You can only read me. Okay, so read is just a concept. But in networking world, if any client or customer or the consumer, the same thing, is go to any microservices or this kind of app, then this is a one kind of action, or this is one kind of verb. And name of the action and verb is known as get. Okay, get action or get verb. So in the REST API world, that is actually work behind the scene with HTTP, or the HTTP, I can say. We'll talk more about it, guys. Don't confuse with these terms. If you don't know, let's talk about this also. Let's talk about HTTP. So any client will go to any app, and if this app is giving you only a facility that you can only read me, like Google is giving facility only read me. Okay, so you can only read. It means I can say this app or Google app or this microservice is giving me a get facility. Okay, you can only do get action. But maybe somebody give you a facility that you can create something. Okay, Google does not give you here, but LinkedIn give you. Here you can go and create a new post. Click here, submit, and create a new post. Okay, so this app or this program or this kind of microservice behind the scene, they give facility. I click here and they get the data and create something, maybe the blog or the post. Okay, so this is more like a create. But in this world of HTTP, means me, I can say my client has a facility that they can connect to this app and they will give you a facility called post. Means they can create something. So post is the name we use. Okay, but here if they give facility, for example, okay, by chance, if somebody MD1 who has created this post, I can't delete this by somebody else. But what a post I create, I can delete. So if I go to my account here somewhere, I go to my account and what a post I created, I can go and delete this. Okay, that post is what kind of data. Okay, so if app and that microservice or that part of the program who give this facility to me of delete. Okay, so this, in the English we use the word delete. Here also we use the word delete only. So delete is a name of the action and the verb. So typically, guys, HTTP is a protocol, is a very standard protocol we use for opening the website. But okay, but if you want to connect to microservice also app, either by you or between each other, they communicate with a protocol called HTTP only. In HTTP world, they understand what you're looking for, what kind of action you want to perform. There's also known as sometimes HTTP method, or sometimes also known as HTTP verb. So HTTP say, I know what you're looking for. Okay, I know you want to get the things, means read the thing. I know you want to delete the things. Okay, so whenever this is your app, you're the client or maybe other microservices. Okay, when you go here, obviously go via me, via my protocol. At the same time, they tell me what request you want to tell to this microservices. If you say post, so I will tell this guy that some of my client or your consumer is asking for the post, means they want to create something. Obviously, if you support, then only you can do, otherwise it won't work, but they're asking for the post. So I'm just giving some vocabulary, guys, because this is what as a minimum requirement for my today's class. This information we will deal again and again. And as we more discuss, you become more comfortable on this concept. You don't know this, this concept previously. Similarly, okay, we have update also. Okay, so if you want to update anything, so update is English word. Okay, for this we have much more way. If a patch is one of the way, otherwise we have some more way to do the things. Is a grammar. So like this, we have more grammar here. My point here is, my point here is, because we are going to use a microservice or going to create a microservice. Okay, if microservice created by somebody else, that we are the one who going to use it. That is mostly known as consume it. Or maybe this microservice you want to create, that was a plan for today's class. Okay, that time you should be very much clear. Okay, your microservice is like a one functionality. What this function will give a service. They're only giving the output. If they're giving the output, the other guy have to read it. Obviously, read it. A function is giving the output, obviously other guy will have to read it. So I can say this function is giving the output, or maybe my microservice is giving the output. It means if somebody comes to me, we'll give the output, and obviously we give the output, other guy have to read it. So for the other guy's perspective and the consumer perspective, client perspective, I can say my microservice is providing a HTTP, because you have to come with via HTTP protocol. Okay, but what you have to come with, come to me, you have to request me for the get. Your action should be, when you're requesting me, I only support get, means because you are giving I'm giving the output and microservice, you're reading, so you'd ask me for the get. For example, if I go to Google and say, Google, I want to post something, I want to store something, create something, even though if you send, they will discard behind the scene. Okay, from here I can post, but they might some other way we can post. I'll show you some other tool. But they discard. They say, I know. Okay, if you come to me, this is my location of my app in Google. If you come to me, okay, I can only give the output because I am giving the output. So you have to tick the output, means you have to read the output. So because this is what I support. So if you come to me as a request, so you have to come to me as a by sending the get request. And obviously how you come, if you see here, they come by HTTP or HTTPS. Okay, so very rough information here. We'll go more clear information and more depth information as we progress. Okay, only intention to explain you this concept is it means whenever you create a microservice, it's like a one box, black box, something happening behind the scene. Okay, for the outside guys who is going to use this microservice, okay, they should only know one thing, one main thing, that this microservice is giving you what kind of facility. Through this, you're going to read, create something, update something, and maybe other combinations also. We can have more combinations also. We'll see as we progress. Okay. So in this case, I can say my microservices is providing the facility of get. Okay. So that anybody can come and read something. What they read, whatever microservice will give the output. And what the output depend upon what kind of code we write. Let's say we write a code in Java. So whatever Java will give me output, that would be given to the outside guys or the user of it, consumer of it, and maybe to other microservices also. This is just very basic information I want to give you to start the today's topic. Okay. So it means finally, the final point is, if you want or other microservices want to communicate to each other, microservice 2 and 1, the channel they communicate is HTTP. And HTTP, we have some standard plans. You can't send anything randomly. Either you can send some create request, read request, update request, day request, so get method, patch method, post method, delete method, and much more. Okay, and we have to use some standard specifications, standard plans, standard rule. What I mean by standard, we'll talk about it. All these names together known as REST API. And that is a detailed topic. We will have detailed discussion in upcoming class. I don't want to discuss right now, because if I start discussing on it, it become more look like theoretical. We might not get more interest. Okay. Rather than we will launch some app, create some app, convert into kind of microservice, and then we'll do multiple tests on it. And slowly, as you see more and more practical, automatically I keep on giving you lots of information in it, and sometime you become very much comfortable with the detailed information of the REST API. Okay, so we'll do understand with the practical. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Okay, and because we are going to do things with the practical, that is a reason I need some tool who help me to create a REST API very quickly, who help me to set up the get method, post method very quickly. Okay, one way, okay, I can create my app that has some functionality, let's say searching functionality. Okay, searching is a different thing. But who will search? Some customer will search, client will search. How they search? They come to you. Okay, and then request you. If they come to you, so your app should know how to connect to the customer over the internet, over the HTTP. How to take the request, because they're coming here to read as a GET request. Okay, then how to give the output back as a response. Okay, so if your app motto is to only for searching, but to connecting the client, give the reply, well, also you have to add some extra code for this. Extra code you have to write. If you're a programmer, you can write it, but it takes time. It will consume time, right? Because your main responsibility is just to write a function for searching. This is what your main focus is. This is what your main app is doing, or maybe let's say this is your main microservice is doing. Okay, but searching is not enough. If the client is not able to connect or HTTP get, because they want to read it, how can you provide them the information? Okay, so for this you have to add some extra program for web server or for HTTP or REST API. It consumes time, right? So that is the reason we have some tool available. Okay, or I can say framework available. Okay, any extra thing that is very commonly used, we always want this framework will create for us automatically, so that we can directly use it. Okay, this is one of the simple example. Otherwise, there's lots more thing we want to directly consume and use. I don't want to create the thing from the scratch. I know my requirement is, we will ask my developer, they will focus on this part only, whatever the unique thing our company providing as a product. Other common thing that we commonly want to use, for example, here, the connectivity between client, take the request, give the output, something like this. Okay, I want some tool will create for me. That's called, that tool mostly known as framework will create for me. And one of the interesting framework that we are going to use here is called Quarkus. So can Quarkus is only doing, using for this purpose only? No, this is one of the smallest purpose of using Quarkus. Quarkus is a big tool, lots of facility they give you. Okay, one of the facility that I don't want to discuss right now. Okay, I want to show you with the practical, but Quarkus has a very powerful native support of cloud native concepts. What cloud native we will discuss. Cloud has a very powerful concept of serverless connectivity. They have a very powerful concept of microservices connecting to container world. Their native support for container, Kubernetes, all the things. What are this? I don't want to discuss right now, but I just want to tell you, if you think this, we are using Quarkus for having this pre-set up ready. No, it is not the only thing. Tons more things they support. Okay, that we'll see as we progress in this program. But you should know basic thing first. So that's what I would like to start. That's what I'm just trying to set this this concept for you. Okay, so today's, guys, my plan is to show you. That's what I'm just trying to build this entire, base concept for you, so you can understand the link what is going on. Okay, so today plan, guys, my entire plan is to make you comfortable with a framework or a software or a tool called Quarkus, because we are going to use this tool heavily in my upcoming classes, where we go more deep into the multiple design, connectivity microservice, deploy microservice. So lots more things we do. So for that purpose in the future, right now you should know how to use Quarkus, otherwise things won't work. Okay, because there's lots of things there in the Quarkus. So if you see, this is the website of the Quarkus. Okay, and there's a Kubernetes support natively. What are this? We will see. Okay, but you have to start with the Quarkus. So what I'm going to do right now. Okay, what I'm going to do right now. So let me give you the better plan for today's class. Okay, I'm going to create one app that is equals to one simple program. Okay, in a language. Intensely, I'm going to choose a language Java. Why Java only? We will discuss Java. So I'll use Java as a language to create some small program. Okay, it means if you are not a developer, don't worry. Okay, the way I'm going to write a code, you will understand this program. You need not to be developer. Otherwise, we already guys provided Java classes of mine to you. You guys might have gone through, but if you think you're not a developer, does not matter. To try to understand the concept. Intensely, guys, I'm going to create a code here, so I can go more deep and make you explain the Quarkus concept in detail. Okay, so there's one thing I'm going to do here. In this program is like a program file. In this program, I'm going to add one function. In Java, guys, function is mostly known as method, but it's the same thing. This function will do something for me, like the printing hello, or this function is going to search for me. Okay, something I will add. Let's say initial class, I'll make this function very simple. This function is going to print hello. Okay, where? On the screen, where we run it. This called terminal. Okay, so this is what the Java program I'm going to create. Okay, but what I'll try to do here and achieve here. Okay, let's say this function is one functionality. Right now they're doing only printing hello, but let's say this is one kind of functionality. Okay, and that functionality is I want to run as an individual microservice. So what I'll do, I will convert this functionality or this function or this program that is running this function as a one individual app. One individual small app. Maybe they're doing printing hello, that we can change the future very easily, what extra you want to add. But let's say I would like to create this function. It is a one individual app, individual small app. In this world, in this example, you can think it's like a small service. What this service is doing, nothing special. The service is only helping us to, when we run it, to hello. But challenge here is, when we create a code in any of the language, does not matter. If we run this function, that's call this function, they print the hello. That's what they do. Okay, but they print on the same system where they're running it. I don't want this. We create this microservice or this small app for the customer, for the app, or for my other microservices, and they are sitting in the other laptop over the internet or the network. Okay, so what I want this microservice provide a facility that anybody over the internet, they can come and execute this function, execute this program, use this app. Okay, and for this, I don't want to create some extra code, extra networking code. Okay, I would like to focus only in my function and the functionality what my function is going to provide. In this case, maybe small thing, hello, but I want to focus there only. That's what my company product is. I don't want to focus that how to handle this client over the internet, and they mostly come over HTTP protocol. Okay, they mostly send a request with GET to read the things. I don't want to handle this part. I want somebody gonna handle for me. But we have to provide this. If you don't provide, somebody come to you and send you this request. Otherwise, if you don't provide this facility in your microservices, how they can read the things? Because this program is running locally in my computer. They will show the output only in my black screen. But I want to convert this output in such a way that anybody over the network also can see the output. And how they come? This way. There's mostly not a REST API that we'll discuss about what is REST API, but they will come via REST API. REST API equals to HTTP protocol plus what method they send. Means get means read. So my point here is, okay, writing the Java code is pretty simple. Writing the hello function is pretty simple. But the hello function will run locally in your local computer. But I want this program can be executed by and get the output by, or output will be readable by, or get by my client or the program running somewhere else. Okay, very simple task, but I don't want to handle this. Here, the role of Quarkus comes in play. Quarkus will add extra layer for you, okay, to handle this part. Okay, what we mean by layer? Again, very quickly, let me get this diagram. Layer means this is my microservice running. Only motto is they are only printing the hello. This is what function or the microservice running. And here we have the client. Okay. Now a client will want to use this microservice or this function or this program or this app. And obviously they can't connect. So what Quarkus will do, they add one extra layer. You don't have to code this. They will do for you. Okay. Now, by the help of this layer, this layer is one kind of program that you don't have to build. Quarkus will provide to you. Now, what this layer will do? Okay, this layer is one kind of program. Okay, that has some kind of IP address. That also has some kind of port number, because you guys know if anybody want to connect over the network, they need the IP address of your computer. They need some port number that you give to some program and services. Here Quarkus will provide to you. Okay. Plus, okay, this program also has a capability. If anybody come over the network via HTTP protocol and they come with some kind of request or method or verb like get, means they looking for the read something. This program say, I know how HTTP work. I know any request come over HTTP. I know how to take the request. I take the request. Okay, over here. This request, whatever they are sending to me, okay, I'll take it. But behind the scene, what to do with the request? Okay, Quarkus say, I don't know what to do with the request. Okay, because you are running with some kind of microservice or like some kind of app that is equals to one kind of program file. And program file, you have multiple functions. Function number 1, function number 2, function number 3. You tell me. Okay, you tell me. Okay, when requests come up, which function to run? So Quarkus, I will go, code lesson Java code. I will run this function for you. And obviously, when we run the function will always give some output that is mostly return. They return something. What a function return? Okay, by the behavior of the code is they always give the return output mostly on the screen. But giving the output on the same system screen does not make any sense. We have to give the output to the customers, right? So what we will do, this output, whatever the return, this Quarkus, this program will take this output and reply back to the customer. So they reply or they respond back to the customer. Okay. So guys, writing now, it means whoever knows the Java, writing this function, return something is their game. They know better how this content functionality work. Okay, but we don't want they will manage other things also. Okay, let's any request come from the client, giving the reply, understand the request, because get is a small thing. There's tons more thing happening, very complexity happening there that we'll discuss in the future. Okay, and then when this request come of get, then this request, if you have to connect to this function, all this is called mapping actually. So which to map, get the output is again long process. You don't have to worry about. Quarkus will do very, very easily for you. Quarkus has a lot of complexity behind this, but to use the Quarkus, they give very simple facility. We can very easily use it. Even though if you don't know programming also much, even though we can use it this part. Okay, but here I want to add one term. It means Quarkus is giving this interface. Okay, with the help of this interface, my client, my users, this may be other microservice also, okay, can use my program running behind the scene. Okay, so by this help of this interface, they can use the program running behind the scene. It means this system running with, let's say, IP 100, my client is a different computer, they're running IP 200. It means for running this program, in this case, maybe function, my client don't have to come to IP 100 remotely, but they can run the program and get the output. Even though they don't have to do remote login like SSH, if you guys know. So from the same system, they can run the power. It is same, something like the Google, for example. Search, right? So in Google, when you search something, okay, if you search something, for example, technically from my laptop, I'll go to Google computer running something there, right? For that, I don't have login there. I don't have to go to physical there. From this computer, I'm asking to do something, and according to my requirement, they are doing some program, or they are doing some running some program or functionality for us and give the output to me or output back to me. Okay. So what we're doing, Google is giving me some interface through which I am connecting to the entire program, and the entire program is giving some facility to me. Okay. Or whatever application they have, they're giving to me. So in simple term, guys, this concept is known as application programming interface, API. So again, there is a one rough definition of it. It's called API. Okay, those who don't know API, so that's why I'm trying to explain this way. What is more about API, we'll discuss. So Quarkus will help us to provide the API. Okay, but I can also add one more term here. Your microservice program running somewhere in one computer, client is there in some other computer. Motto is client want to use your program, use your facility services. Okay, so Quarkus will work as a gate to go inside. So for the client, it is like a gate to go inside. So maybe I can use a better word here. In this example, Quarkus is working as an API gateway for you. API gateway for you. Okay, this is one of the facility given by the Quarkus. There's much more facility, but this is one of the facility given by the Quarkus for you. Okay, so this some term I'm just giving you as information. More basic, more advanced, more deep. As we progress in this training, we'll go. Today is the first kind of class. So just I'm trying to give you some of the vocabulary so that anyone who are very new in this world, they can understand the concept. Now, next thing is, if you just talk about the microservice, okay, that we'll discuss in very detail in upcoming classes, but microservice is like a one box. Okay, every microservice should have at least mostly three components. Again, so this is the entire is a box. It's called microservice. It's one mini program or mini app. But typically, every microservice has at least have three things. Then only the microservice is usable. Most important thing is obviously their functions, the program, whatever function they have for searching, for posting the image and something like this. Functionality is mostly like a kind of program. Okay. But microservice is used by some other programs, right? Or other microservices or other users. Okay. So they can only connect to this microservice with the help of one interface. This interface help us that anybody from outside world can reach over the internet. This is mostly known as API gateway. If microservices don't have the API gateway, so none of the CRUD operation you can perform. You can't perform any CRUD operation. For example, from outside the world, if somebody want to create something, read something, update something, delete something, obviously they send the request, my program will do. But who will listen this CRUD operations? We need some interface here, right? API gateway, they will listen the request, then they connect behind the scene to do the things. So one minimum component we always need microservice is API gateway. There's two things we always want. Otherwise, there's no use of it, right? The microservice is like one app. It's always one of the feature of microservices is wherever microservice is running, we can't connect microservice locally. We always connect microservice over the internet or over the network by this HTTP protocol. Okay, for example, right now Windows is running. If you want to use Notepad program, it's a program again, facility, right? I can connect locally without, I don't need any networking for this. Okay, but if I can say, if this program is a microservice, they're giving one kind of facility or services, then one of the feature of the microservices is you should run microservice over the network with this protocol. Why? Because mostly microservice, multiple microservices work together, make a big app. Okay. And mostly though, every microservice, we need a capability to run in different environment, different virtual machine, different instances, different cluster environment, different cloud environment. If they don't have the facility to connect over the internet, then it's very harder to set up the thing what we are planning, right? We can scale it individually and something like this. Otherwise, we'll talk more about it in upcoming discussion. Okay. So one more facility of microservices, they should have an API gateway. So we have a connectivity over the network. And other things, it's not compulsory, but depend upon the requirement. The microservice might have one their personal storage, personal database, or personal storage of file system. Maybe my client is posting some data. Okay, by API gateway we can get it. Where we store in this database. So it's optional, depend upon functionality to functionality. Some functionality might also only doing computing for you. We might not need have some local data. So I'll talk about this design very detailed, multiple examples we construct in my upcoming classes. So let's leave this point. Minimum thing that we need always is this part. API gateway and your main core program. If you don't have this, then that microservice has no meaning. Okay. So when we build more, you will understand more about this. So a lot of information that I've draw here. Every information will go for more basic and more advanced. Lots of different examples we'll see. You become more comfortable on it. Okay. So this is one important point. REST API is a very, very important topic. It's a core base for the microservices. So my plan is to explain the REST API in very, very detail. Every possible thing that is possible in REST API we will discuss, but today is not the right day to discuss on it. Let's feel something about Quarkus. Okay, be comfortable with practice something on it. Then we'll go use that setup or the lab that we are going to create today for the future class to create a lot of new things on the top of it. There we'll talk more about the REST APIs. Okay, so based on this entire information, I feel you might understand. Okay, without this, nobody able to connect. And who will set up this? Either you create by yourself from the scratch writing the code, but better practice in today's world is in today's DevOps world is or Agile world is, let's focus more on what our logic, what we are looking for, what company is looking for. Why not give this is a very common thing, standard thing to other tool, that's called other framework. They will manage and handle for you. They will create for you. In this case, this is called Quarkus. Quarkus is not only the tool, more tool available in the market, but here in my case, we are using Quarkus. Okay, so let's start, guys, to do this setup. Okay, and Quarkus is a tool that will work with the Java or JVM only. Okay, there's also one of the reason. Okay, JDK means Java. Okay, we will write our code in the Java language. Okay, so rather than I use Java, I can say JVM. Okay, so I use Quarkus. But guys, this main slogan of Quarkus is supersonic, subatomic. It's a very powerful feature of the Quarkus that differentiate the Quarkus from their competitor like Spring Boot and Micronaut and some other things. What are those concepts? What is this feature facility? We will discuss some part today and again some part in upcoming discussion, right? So without further investing the time, let's start building our lab. Guys, building the lab is very, very important. Lots of steps we have to follow. So I'm going to set up the lab in your own personal laptop. I'll go to every step of it. Okay, because lots of things we have to set up, install in this laptop or in your lab where you want to set the lab. Okay, and we use this lab for doing lots of practical and practice in the today and maybe in the upcoming classes also. Okay, so lab means where we implement our microservices, our projects, run it, change it, test it, and multiple different custom setup will do for practice multiple things. Okay, so in my case, guys, I'm going to set up my lab in my personal laptop, this one where I'm sitting right now. In my case, my laptop has a base operating system called Windows. But the step that I'm going to discussing to you, almost same step, you can use Mac also and Linux also. But I'm doing in my local system Windows. Okay, this is one thing. And now according to this lab, what we are looking for, we have to write a code. And I choose a language called Java. If I write a code in Java language, so that code you have to compile and run. And for this, you need JDK, Java Development Kit. Okay, if you don't have Java, your code won't be run or compiled. So the first requirement we have that I install in my local system. Okay, second requirement that we need, because we're going to write a code, we can write a code in some text editor. But in my case, I'm going to use an IDE in integrated development environment, like Eclipse or like Visual Studio. But in my case, I'm going to use IDE called IntelliJ. IntelliJ, what a spelling would be. So IntelliJ is one IDE I'm going to use. In your case, you can use Visual Studio Code or something else. But I highly recommend, if you're not purely from the development background, you might not be comfortable with IDE. So follow along with me, use the same IDE, whatever I'm going to use. Okay. The second thing. Okay. Third thing we need, because if you're going to write a lots of code in Java, does not mean you should be very great developer. You will understand every bit of it. Some code will write, some code I'll be create and share to you. So you can copy paste and use it. Because our motto is not to learn the programming. Our motto is to learn the microservice, and there are a lot of design pattern, architecture, and other things also. Okay. So, but in Java, when we write a code, okay, a lot of code, guys, is been using a lot of software that's called libraries, sometimes also known as packages. Okay, and then packages we normally get from the internet. Okay, so we need some program will help me to download all library and packages of the Java, so my program will run. Okay, So for this, we need some kind of tool that will download my package. And a lot of package we need. Even though Quarkus is also one kind of package for Java. Okay, there's one tool that we use a lot in Java world that help you download the software from the internet and lot more thing they do. And this is a very important tool we're gonna use is called Maven. So the third tool that I need in my laptop is called Maven. Okay. What are use of this tool? When we start using it, you become more comfortable. I'm just trying to give the list that you have installed right now and set up in my laptop right now. And the final tool, okay, that we need today in today's class is Quarkus, obviously. So Quarkus is the framework for multiple things, but here we are going to set up the microservices. So for the microservice, we are going to use a tool and framework or software called Quarkus. There's a fourth thing we need in our laptop. Okay. Otherwise, in the future classes, okay, we will, whatever app we are doing or microservice building, we are going to launch on the top of Kubernetes or the Docker containers and something like this. So we'll also set up this point also in the future, and I'll show you how to integrate with Quarkus with these native tools or content tools. So that I don't need right now, but in the future we will need it. So that time we'll install and I'll show you how to integrate also. That were very, very powerful practicals. But minimum thing I need today is this four thing to start with. Okay, so let's do step by step. Okay, for Java, JDK, there's a lot of company guys providing a JDK to us. Okay, JDK to us. You can get the JDK from Red Hat, from IBM, Open JDK, Open Source JDK, Oracle JDK. Okay, and there's one more company, Amazon, also have their own JDK. Okay, you can use any JDK software, but I'm going to use JDK from the Amazon. Okay, so what is JDK? If you guys don't know, after we created a Java code, okay, we have to compile the code. We need a compiler. We have to install, so run the code. We need runtime that is given by JDK. So we search for Amazon JDK, and name of the JDK given by Amazon is Corretto. Is the name of that product what is given by Amazon. I click here. Okay, and here they give you multiple versions. Right now, current market, the latest stable version that we have in the market is JDK version 17. That's what I'm installing here. Okay, so I'm installing Amazon. Corretto is the name of the Java JDK from Amazon, and we are installing version 17 from here. I click here. This is the list they're going to give you. Okay. And from here, you can go and download. So there's a link we have for multiple OS. I would like to install for Windows. So Windows 64-bit I have. I'm going to install this JDK. You can download MSI version. Okay, with installer, double click, install it. Okay, in my case, I already downloaded, already installed. I don't want to invest the time because installation is pretty simple. Click and download. Okay, and double click, so click and download, and then double click install it. I'm sharing this link to you. Okay, but after installation, you can verify. After installation done, open your black screen terminal, command prompt, run the command java -version. If this command runs successfully, and you get the version output 17, if you see Corretto here, okay, it means it verified. Whatever you download and installed, it is successfully done. Okay, so this part is done. Pretty simple, right? Next thing we need is IntelliJ IDE. Okay, that's what we are going to install. So again, pretty simple. It's just for IntelliJ download. So this is a software from the company called JetBrains. ID number IntelliJ IDEA is your IDE name. The ID is again given by multiple OS. In my case, it is there for Windows. So just click here and download the exe version of it. Okay, version of it. Okay, even though I suggest you can go for community edition, it's free forever. Otherwise, this is for 30 days. It will ask for the license fees. Download the community version, CE version. It will be free. Okay, so click and download and install it. Again, in my case, it is already downloaded. Download simple, double click, install simple, nothing special. So again, we don't want to invest the time. So, but I'm just sharing this link to you. Click and download. In my case, it's already downloaded. In my case, already installed. Even the same thing I show you in my Java classes also. If you was there in my Java classes that we have given to you, that part I show you there. So click and install. Okay. So in my case, IntelliJ is already there. So if I search in my Windows, IntelliJ IDE is there. I click and it will open for me. So this IDE we're going to use to writing the code and do lots of things there. Okay. So this is one thing we have. So second part is done. Okay. Third thing is Maven. Okay. So I'll show you how to do this because a little bit extra step we have to do in the Maven. Okay. So what is Maven? We'll see today. Okay. But let me install the software because we need this. Okay. So Maven, I'm going to install. So you can search Maven download. There's a website from where you can download the software. Okay. And here I'm going to download Maven. Okay. In the binary, not the source code, binary file. Okay. I'm going to download the zip file here. Okay. Click and download. Click and it will download for you. Okay. Then after download the zip file, you have to extract this. Okay, so maybe it is pre-installed. As to extract, automatically is ready to use. Okay, so what I'm going to do after I download, I double click and then extract. Guys, if you don't able to set up this, what we are doing today, none of the practical in the future class you're able to do it, right? So setting up is very important. I'm going to show you step by step all the setup and then show you how to write a code and make it create an API gateway, all the things we'll see. Okay, so just after download, double click, extract this. And you can extract in any of the folder. In my case, I'm going to extract in my C drive. Okay, maybe in C drive, maybe in my program file, I'm downloading. Okay, so just click and extract here. So this software will extract over there. Click OK and extract. Okay, and close. There's some warning come on my system because my system already extracted in the same location, but in your case, it will extract it there. So after you extract, okay, what you will find in your C drive, in your program file, you can find Apache Maven folder. That's all. After extract, you can find it. So technically, Maven installed, but we know where we install the Maven. Okay, or where we extract the Maven. My system does not know. My computer does not know. Okay, so for this, what I have to do, because Maven comes with their own personal command that is available in the bin folder. MVin command that we have to use a lot. Okay, so we know where this command located in this location. There's called path, but my system does not know. Okay, so I have to set the path for this Maven. For this, I'll search for env. It's called environmental variable in my Windows. Enter. Okay, and here we have to go to path and edit this path. And then you add somewhere in the last. Okay, somewhere in the last, I can new and add there. So not this one, obviously. I have to add where the Maven located, where the Maven command located. That's all. Why we are doing this? Because we know where the Maven is, so we can extract Maven anywhere. You tell your system that Maven commands is located here. If you want to use Maven from here. Okay, I already had something. Let me remove the older one, so there will be no conflict. This is what you have to add. Okay, and then okay, close this. Right. One more thing we might have to do, maybe. 1 minute. No, 1 minute, guys. Okay, this is one thing you have to do. Okay, one more thing we do, even though if you don't do it, it will work, but maybe some in the future it might conflict. Let me say okay here for a while. Okay, we extracted Maven in this folder. Okay, so Maven is one tool that we're going to use. I'll show you that time what is the use of it. Okay, but this is the location where you find all the Maven command and lots more things they have over here. So whichever folder you extract the Maven, that is known as Maven home. Okay, so this folder, it would be anything other folder also for your case where you extract. This is known as Maven home. Okay, so some program internally don't use Maven for some other library or something. They ask, that program ask internally, can you tell where is the Maven home? And for this, they don't ask you, they will ask to your computer. So for this, again, you have to open your environment variable. Okay, and here you have to add. Here you have to add a new and say, this is my Maven home. Which one? This folder is one where we extract the Maven, this location. And this location for us is Maven home. So you write a one keyword here, it's called environmental variable. It's called Maven home. It should be in the capital letter and a Maven underscore home. There's a fixed name. Get right here. Okay. Right now, if you don't write this, it will work for you, but in some program in the future, it might fail. So we could practice show setter right now. So we are telling our computer that if anybody in the future, any program asks where the Maven home is, where the Maven extracted, so tell this name. Okay. So they will ask Maven underscore home in the capital letter. So you, wherever you path you extracted, just type this. In my case, I already have set up. I am going to cancel, but in your case, you will say okay. So this is guys, the Maven has been installed and set up. Okay. So these steps, guys, will give you one document prepared. You just go through the steps. If you miss anything, by looking at the step, you can do it. Okay. But after this step done successfully, to verify it, this is working or not, open your command prompt again, tap the command mvn space version, -version. If this command runs successfully and they give you the version, it means it is working right. And Maven behind the scene going to use your Java JDK. So they also detected that this version of JDK is been installed in your laptop. Okay, Maven is a tool that help us to download the Java library. Also, they help us to compile the Java code, run the Java code. Okay, so we don't have to compile the code ourselves. Maven will do for us, and much more thing they will do. So Maven auto detected which Java version you're running right now behind the scene. Okay, so there's a command you can verify to check Maven is running or not. So this is the guys minimum requirement we need to work with Quarkus. After you have the Maven or Java, okay, all the thing. Now we can install the Quarkus. Okay, how? So for this, there's a website called Quarkus. Even though I have one link also, guys. Let me stop sharing for a while. The link also give that steps. So I'll share this link to you. They will tell you these are the software it installed. So I'll share this link. Give me a minute, please. Okay. So this link I'll share to you is a official website from Red Hat, because Quarkus is a software from the Red Hat only. So they say if you want to use Quarkus, the setup is you need IDE. Here they recommend Visual Studio Code, but I am using IntelliJ, so go for IntelliJ. All right, this is one thing. Second thing is for Quarkus, you need Docker. We don't need Docker right now. In upcoming class, we need that time we'll install it. We need Java that we already installed. Okay, we need Maven that we already installed. Okay, we need one more tool that I don't need right now. Whenever we need Gravel VM, we will install that point in time. Okay, that is what, guys, you need about for the Quarkus. But this website does not tell you how to install Quarkus. Why? The Quarkus is just a library or package of Java. Okay, so you don't have to go here and there and download the Quarkus. Okay, Quarkus is just a extra library. For example, if you know Python, we have Python library, so we use pip command to install. If you know Python, for example. Similarly, Quarkus is just one library of the Java. Okay, so in the Java world, if you want to install any library means somebody has created this program and software for you over the internet they put. Okay, to use this, you have to download from the internet. After download it, install it and use it. So again, this is the one of the duty of the Maven. Maven will do for you. So ask the Maven that we have one library over somewhere over the internet. Okay, so please go and download that library. After download, install it. Okay, so Quarkus will do for you. Maven will do for you for the Quarkus. So Quarkus is just a library for the Java. Okay, what this library will do? Everything will do from this library only in this entire training. So that's what we'll discuss in very detail. But let me show you how to install it. Okay, so for this, okay, we will use Maven command. We have already installed Maven. That is again one of the reasons, guys, we need Maven. So Maven is software name, but command is MVN. Already installed. Okay, so how we going to do? So for this, what I'm going to do before I do so, okay, right now I'm going to create an app like a software. And it is good practice, guys. We always create an app in a separate folder. That folder mostly known as workspace. And most of the time, this folder also known as project. So I'm going to create a separate folder or project, and there I'm going to put my app. So let me first do this. So in my case, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go inside the document folder, and here I'm going to create one new folder called Quarkus, or let me use the name MicroService code. Okay, so this is one folder I'm creating, and this folder I keep on sharing with you. Lots of code we will build here, set up here. Right, this is empty. So let me create one new folder called first project. So this is a folder. Okay, or also on the workspace, or also on the project. So my today's project, what we are going to set up, where we see something of Quarkus, REST API, and other things also. Today we will put in this folder. And let me go inside this folder. Okay, now we will install the Quarkus. Okay. So what I'm going to do from this folder, let me clear my screen. It folder could be anything and anywhere. Now here, what I'm going to do, I'm going to run one command. And this command is important, guys. So whenever you want to create any app and you want this app is going to do something, now maybe it's, let's say, microservice or whatever it would be, but this app is going to managed by, controlled by, and you want to add facilities, features from the Quarkus framework. Okay, so for this app, I can say this app is based on Quarkus. This is also what we can say. Okay, so for this app, you have to install the Quarkus, let's call Quarkus plugin or Quarkus library, also we can say. Okay, so here the role of Java come in, Maven come in play. So I'm going to write Maven command. And so Maven, there's one thing, there's one Quarkus plugin available. Okay, I want you just download and store for me and set up for me, create for me. Okay, create a new project for me. So Maven is the one who's going to create a new project for you. Why? Because we use a keyword called create. But this project will be based on the Quarkus. Quarkus is going to provide the facility for us, whatever we're going to do. Okay, and technically name of plugin is not Quarkus plugin, its actual name is Maven. So this is the name of the plugin. But from where you download this plugin? Okay, so this plugin may be available for multiple, okay, open source. So we'll mention over here, this plugin is there and a website called io.quarkus. This is what we write. Okay, so from this website you download, or technically those who know Java, you can think this is actually the package name. Get from this package. But those who don't know Java, you can think this is a website from where you download this software scope plugin. And create means I want to create a new project here, where we'll build something, where we'll create some app. So this is the meaning of this line. Okay. Now, our plan is, guys, to create a new project. So for this, you have to do much more thing here. So because this command is a little bit bigger actually. Okay, a little bigger. Even got this command that I'm going to write, you can find over the internet also. They directly give this command, you can click and run it. But I'm trying to explain every bit of this command. So in this command, guys, you have to write this line. This line I explained to you. I want to install some library plugin from the internet. From this website, create means I want to create a new project for Java. But the project is based on Quarkus, means a lot of Quarkus related facility provided to us, so we can use Quarkus. Or in simple term, I want to install Quarkus. That's also a way you can think of. Now, one more thing I want to add here, because you're going to create a new app, or new software or new app, obviously. Okay, so mostly in the Java world, okay, in this kind of development world, app is also known as artifact. Okay, so here you have to give a keyword here that we are going to create an artifact, and name of my artifact that is equals to my name of project. So let's say my name of project is called Linux World App. What a name you want to give, that will be your choice. So create command means create a new app. And what is the name of the app, or artifact name is same thing as Linux World App. So this is one keyword you write, it's called artifact keyword. But the actual full keyword is actually artifact ID. Actually, this is known as artifact ID, and again the full name is called project artifact ID. This is the keyword actually they have. Okay, or any keyword if you want to give with Maven, or any key value pair if you want to give with Maven, maybe more like a Java. So you have to give option called -d without any space. Okay, so we're giving some information that we are going to create a project, and a project name is Linux World App. So this is a keyword, means we are going to create a project or app This is the name. This is one information we have to give here. Second information that we have to give here is that if you want, if you want to create any app right now, guys, in this particular project, we want to create a code, and this code will obviously run in Java code. So it is something like this. We first create one file. This is mostly known as program file. And again, in the Java world, if you create a program file, those who know Java, for them, I'm explaining to you, they have to give extension Java, means there's Java code or source code. Then we create a code. But after create the code, you have to compile it. You compile it. But here, who will compile? Maven will handle this. Maven will handle everything about Java. Maven will compile automatically for you. After compile, it becomes your final compile code, or also an executable code. Those who know Java, it's called bytecode. Then this code we can run. After you run, you can get the output, whatever is there. This is the process. Now, in this entire example, after you compile the code, then it becomes a final code, final executable file, binary file. This file is also known as Java world called class file. Class file is one who is executable file in Java. But again, guys, in bigger project, there's lots of program file. And every program file you compile, there's different classes created. If a 10 program file, there may be 10 or maybe more than 10 class file will create. So mostly we normally organize this file. These are the class files. Those who don't know class file, it is more like an executable file. And file 1, file 2, file 3, 4, hundreds of files may be there. So we normally manage this file in one folder, put all the file in one folder. That folder is mostly known as package in Java world. So where you put your class file, that is known as package, or sometimes also known as group. So we group all this file somewhere. So here, guys, you have to give the name. In your project, you're going to create a lot of files, class file, where you want to group it. So tell me the name of the group or the ID, technical folder name. So let's say my folder name will be my folder dot all file. Just give us some name, whatever you feel like. Over here. Again, this was one of the options you have to give. But normally, guys, we give a project name, or a group name, or group ID, or the package name, something very relevant, right? So mostly the standard in the market is you give your company domain name, like lw.com. We give in the reverse order. It's not compulsory, you can give any order, anything, but this is what most it is standard in the market. So a company domain name, let's say company domain google.com, and com.google. Or lw.com is to write lw.com, you can write com.ll as well. And then we can give some more folder name. Let's say this is a let's say technical department or something like this. So this is a folder. So com is one folder, inside this lw folder, inside the tech folder. Right now Java write dot, but internally they create a folder for us. So that's what we have to give. Which folder you are going to manage your class file, you have to give. One more thing you have to give last is, there's lots of classes file you have, executive file you have. You can think when you create any website. In website, there are a lot of web pages. Web page number 1, web page number 2, 3, 4. But anybody come to a website, only one page will run. Otherwise, we're linked. So example, if you go to LinkedIn or this website, on your first page they run. Other is linked. You can click on, they can go and reach other. So whichever page they open, that's called home page or the entry point page. Similarly here, whenever we run our app, I want one of the file or one of the class file will run. Which is the main file? Which is entry point? Which is the main file you want to run? So tell me your file name or executable file name. It's called class file name. So here I have to give one more option here called class name or class file name. Okay. So again, because we are managing all the class in this folder. So I say, go to this folder, then inside this folder, then inside this folder, then you can find one class name. Okay. Where you, or executable file name. So let's say my class name is called Hello Linux World. So this is a file name we will create. Okay. So there's one more option we will give. So these are some options we are giving here. There might be some more options we can give, but as we progress, we'll discuss. And if you don't understand this point, don't worry. In a minute, when I start executing this code, I show you when the setup is done. You can very easily relate this. Okay. So this is one single command. So let me write this in one single line. There's one single command actually. So just I type in this way to explain you. So there's one single command from here till last, and let me run this command over here. Okay, right now this folder is empty, nothing is there. Okay, and this first time I am running maven command. So what this command will do? Lots of things this command gonna do for you. One, they download the Quarkus software from this website. Second, maven will create a project for you, so we can work on this project. What we'll do? We create a functions, code, microservices, whatever we want to do, you will do. Third, okay, in this project, the main file that we create here is this one, hello.linuxworld, where in this folder. Okay, but the entire project, I know they create one single file, we can create more file as we want if in the future. But entire all the file they put in one big project is called this one. Project like your app, the app name, also known as artifact name here. So let me run this command. Okay, this command is going to internet. Okay, and they're downloading the software. In my case, guys, this command runs very quickly. Okay, but in your case, it might take some minutes, depending upon internet speed. Okay, because when you run this command, because I have run this command multiple times in my laptop. Okay, but if you run this command, so they will download this plugin library, and this plugin has a lot of other dependencies also, other software dependencies also. They also download this. So a lot of things they download in your system. Okay, from the internet. Okay, so if this command takes much time, don't worry, just don't stop this with Control-C. Keep on running it. Depending on the internet speed, they take 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes also to download everything. They keep on running the command, don't stop. But finally, you will see this. What they say, Quarkus project has successfully generated. Where? In this folder. Why in this folder? Because that's what I write here. See here? That's what I write. I would like to generate my project with a name. What? This one. And this is a project name. Project name is equal to folder name. That's what they generate here. Even though if you see here, dir command, they create this folder. Your folder is equal to project name is equal to artifact name. Okay. And when you see this option build circuits, means the project has been created successfully. It has created successfully. And we are ready to use. Because here they give some sample code. Okay, they give sample code. So we are ready to use this project. Obviously, we're going to change something, but this project, they give some sample code we are ready to use. Okay, how we can use? They say, if you want to use this app, whatever they create, go to the directory they created. In this case, they created a directory called LWR. Go to this directory. And here they give you lots of sample things pre-created, a lot of things is there. I'll show you what are those things, whatever we need. But to check what was sample project they created for you, so here they give one command. Again, the Maven command. If you ask him Maven that now my entire project is run by a framework called Quarkus, ask the Quarkus to run. So I'm running the Maven command, Quarkus. Okay, and there's one very powerful facility Quarkus will have that I will discuss in very detail. It's called dev mode. Okay, what is dev mode? We will discuss. Very, very powerful facility. And that time you will understand about why Quarkus is supersonic and super atomic also. It's supersonic. I'll discuss on those points, but let me run this command. So this command, what this command will do? This command will run your app. Which app? Whatever the sample app they give you, we can change on it, but let me run the sample app. Okay, now a sample app has been started. Again, in my case, this will run very quickly. But in your case, this command will take a lot of time because they're downloading a lot of libraries. In my case, a lot of libraries already downloaded, so they will be competitive slow. Sorry, faster in my case. Okay, but what this command is doing right now, they are creating a Quarkus project. Quarkus project. What Quarkus is? One of the main things that Quarkus provide. Okay, one of the main things that Quarkus provide is this what? API gateway. So Quarkus say you don't have to worry about this part. Or let me go for this diagram. You don't have to worry about this part. I started a program on your IP address. I'm gonna give some port number to you. Mostly they give port number 8080, but you can change also. Okay, and my program has a capability. Any client want to connect me, okay, they can connect via HTTP or any of the REST API methods. What are REST API? We'll discuss. So this Quarkus will give you. I don't have to code. Quarkus will give to us automatically. And I can say Quarkus start. Okay. So they start successfully, and here there's some look like warning because some project may be running in my case already. Wallet. Okay. So let me show you. I think there's some other projects going on, but port 8080 seem to be used by the process. Where's my other process? Just can hold for a second. I believe in my computer some other program is running. So wait for a minute. One minute, please. So in my computer, guys, some other program is running actually. So I stopped that program. Okay. And I come back. Obviously, this error does not come in your system. And let me do Control C to terminate and let me rerun it. Okay. So what they do, they will start 1 minute. This program. How we do the mapping, there's a different form we'll see, but I just want to show you quick the setup is ready and things working fine. So any client can connect to app via Quarkus. Okay, how? Via normal browser or HTTP protocol, right? So here they're running on port 8080 in my own system. My own system guys also on a local host. So you can connect on the local host. Okay. So the Quarkus start, there's no error, there's no red marks, things working great. And they also show you now your application is running at this URL. Anyone who have connectivity to a system, they can connect to an app. Let me use my browser. And you can see some sample app has been started by Quarkus. We can change over here, whatever we need to change, but they started. Okay, even though they also talk about this app, whatever started has a project name called this one. Why? Because this is what the project name we have given, right? Okay, they update here. And they also create some sample small functionality. Okay, and I think they create, I think with the name hello. Okay, see here, they create this functionality. Okay, it is more like a Google. For example, if you go to Google, okay, so here, for example, if you search something, when you go to this function, this URL is more like a functionality. They give some output. Okay, not exactly, but almost something like this. If anybody go to this URL, they give this output. But internally, this URL is mapped to one function. That was the main point to be discussed. Maybe I'll try to discuss today. Okay, this point. But this is some sample app given by Quarkus. Obviously, we don't want to use this, but this is what they provide you. But it is good. We can use this to check my entire setup is working or not. So it means Java has been successfully installed. JDK is working fine. Maven is also working fine. Quarkus is successfully installed. My app is also working successfully in my system. So technically, my entire setup has been tested. Okay, and working fine here. Now, from here are actually main training of Quarkus and the microservice is going to start from here. Okay. Now, let's talk about what we can do with the Quarkus that we can't do normally with the Java. Okay. But after adding the Quarkus, what can we do? So right now, guys, my application is working fine. Okay. So if you want to stop this application, this sample application, you can do Control-C to stop. Obviously, if they stop, obviously application does not work. Okay. So now, what you can't do with your only Java. Okay, that let me explain to you that after you add the Quarkus with the Java, what extra facility you will achieve. Okay, so let me explain this particular point here. Okay, so what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to add one basic Java code, very simple basic Java code. Okay, to explain you, if you have just only basic Java code, you can only do that particular thing only. By adding the Quarkus, you will see some big thing going to happen, right? So let me explain in this way. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to write some Java code, and for writing Java code, I am going to use IDE that's called IntelliJ. Okay, and or you can use normal IDE also, but let me use IntelliJ. So I am going to launch IntelliJ. It is already there. It's launched. And guys, when you launch IntelliJ first time, you will see almost this kind of page. Almost this kind of page, maybe. Okay. And here they ask you, do you want to create a new project? Okay. Or you want to load a project. So let's say I want to create a new project. I already have the project by Quarkus created in this folder. I can load, but I want to show you again from the scratch. Okay. If you have only Java, you can't do much. Okay. So I'm going to create a new project. You can give the project name, let's say test project or only Java. Some name I'm giving here. Only Java. Okay. So I'm going to create one project. We're going to write a code in language called Java. And here you might see you will by default selected with the Java 17, what I downloaded over here. Otherwise, I can change where you download it done, right? But mostly they will select your current Java wherever you installed and create. Now, this is one new project created. Nothing is here. I have to create a Java code. For this, if you guys go through my Java classes, you have known some basic code of the Java. Otherwise, let me create it very quickly. Mostly create a code in the source folder SRC. Right click, create new file. And guys, where you add Java code is called Java file or Java class. Let me say this is my hello file. Okay. So here, guys, we will write the Java code. Okay. If you guys don't know Java, don't worry. I'm just writing code very quickly. It's a very simple Java code just to print something, nothing special. Okay. So we write some kind of keyword called public static void main is a fun function, string args, something like this. And here in Java, if you want to print something, okay, so we have a system.out.print function we have, and say I want to print hi and hello Linux world. That's all. Code completed. Okay. So when you run this code, they will print hi hello Linux world. Pretty simple code. Okay. To run this code, you have to compile, and after compile, we have to run it. But your ID will do all the thing together for you. So there's a run button here. When I click and run, you will see they will run and just compile and run for you, and they give the output in a minute. Okay, see this output gonna come up. Okay, or let me do one more small thing here. What I'm going to do, I'm going to create one more extra function here. And let's say my plan is, if anybody who run this function, this function is called LW search. Is this a function name? Anybody who run this function is going to do something. Let's say this function is going to +2 number, 5 + 2. Or let's say function name maybe LW sum function. If somebody call this function, they will sum. After the sum, they return this output to you. Or because they're reading number 5 and 2 is a number, is integer. So my return type of function is integer. The function created. Nothing special about this function. So anybody who use this function, call this function, they return this number 5 + 2 7. Okay. Who call? You can call from anywhere, but let me call here inside this line. I'm going to call a function called LW some function here. Okay. So this function I'm going to call over here. Okay. This one small thing you have to add, nothing very special. In Java, where you call the function, if they are static, so this function should also be static. What is static is not important to know right now. That's where the error was coming. Okay. So static int. Get right. So again, guys, if you don't know Java, does not matter. Let me run this, then I'll tell you what we want to achieve here. So let me show the output first. So you can see when we call the function, output function 5 + 7 will come up. Now let me here explain you from here, right? What we want to achieve. Okay. So right now, one of my developer team has created this functionality. Okay. Functionality is, if anybody call this function, use this function, they will give us sum of 5 + 2 always, for example, or maybe some other number also. Output would be this is 7. Okay. This is a functionality we have. This is very small functionality, but let's say, okay, this is not only sum, they're searching, they connect to some database, searching there, lots of things they're doing here. Okay. So finally, one function has one functionality. Maybe they're searching, maybe they're summing, maybe they're chatting, they're sending the mail, they're getting login, checking password, login, password check. Okay. Every function in all the programming world is doing something for you. Okay. By chance, to make this simple concept simple, I create this function. They're only doing small things, sum for you. So I can say the responsibility of this function or functionality is to sum and give the output to you. Okay, this output to you. And if some function give the output, okay, if they give the output, then some will going to read this, right? Who will call? We are call here. So whoever call, that there we can read this. And because we can read, that's what output gonna come up here. Based on this information, let me relate this information with the microservice kind of concept. Okay. I know this function is very small, but let's say they have a lot of things to do. Okay. And now let's say this function is going to call again and again and again. Okay. So this is one big program. Okay. If this function is going to call again and again, we need more resources, but we can't give more resources only to this function. You give resources to all the function there in this file. We can scale it, but everyone will get the resource. There's no way as such that to give the resource only to the function, or we can scale this function only. Okay, that is a reason we have to convert this function into independent service called microservice. How we convert that we'll discuss in upcoming classes, but that is not the important point right now to discuss. Important point what I'm trying to explain you right now is this function, let's say, is a one kind of microservice. Okay, and in the future when we run this function or microservice separately some other computer, so how we connect to microservice? Okay, we don't call the microservice in this way like a normal function. Where we call, I don't want to see the output the way it shows in the black screen or terminal. Okay, how we call, if this is a microservice or kind of one function, one kind of app, somebody from different laptop or different other microservice, they will come to this function over the network via HTTP protocol. Or by chance, this function is giving the output or reading the output. Okay, and because they're giving the output, then this program or this other guys will going to read this. That's what I explained to you already. Or because they are going to read the output, the 7, so they have to send the HTTP GET request. Okay, but right now, if we just talk about this Java, this is a pure Java. Okay, it's a plain Java, plain old Java. And guys, when you write this kind of code, pure plain Java, this is also known as POJO, P-O-J-O, plain old Java. And Java, guys, everything is objects. Why the object will might see if you don't know object, plain old Java object, the pure Java. What do you ask them? They do it. We ask them to give the output, they give to you where we call and they print here. Okay. But right now, if you ask to this plain object Java or plain old Java or this POJO, okay, that can you do something for me, something like this, that I will explain to you. Can you do something like this? That your function is running here. There is some function. And function is going to give some output. In this case, 5 plus 2 is 7. 7. But where they give the output, where are we calling it? I'm calling it to my local computer here. The local computer black screen, they give the output. I don't want this. Can you do one thing for me? My user, consumer is sitting at the laptop. Can you send the output there? POJO say no, I don't know how to send. I don't know how to send over the network. I don't understand HTTP protocol. I don't understand GET. By this better word, I can say I don't understand API or REST APIs. We'll talk more about this in my next class, APIs. Okay, so here the role of Quarkus come in play. Same code, there's no change in the code. Same code. Okay, what can we do? If you set up the Quarkus here, install the Quarkus library here, what Quarkus will provide us? Okay, Quarkus will provide us one very, very fantastic facility. Okay, the facility is, okay, after we apply the Quarkus, okay, now Quarkus can very easily, okay, do one facility here. That now this function, they're giving the output 7 here, where in the same system of black screen of a terminal or console. Now this output, they give a capability, this output we can send over the network, over the HTTP protocol, if somebody asks us to read, or somebody requests us as a GET request. Typically, this term is called expose. Quarkus can expose this function. over the network, over the internet. Very easy. Okay. Only thing we have to ask. Okay. Only thing we have to ask, which function to expose. Okay. Which function to expose. And for this, we might have multiple functions. Let me add one more function here. Copy. We have one function, for example, this some function is maybe search function, for example. So you already have the Java code. You know Java, you don't know Java, does not matter. Okay, you already Java code or somebody created Java code for you. Okay, after the Quarkus, you can do one thing. Any function that you want to expose that anybody can call outside, anybody can run outside, and you can see output of the outside world. Okay, you can very quickly expose it over the network. How? Just by adding some extra keyword given by the Quarkus. And keyword is because we know this function is going to give the output, so other one has to read it. Means other one will have to send the get request. So here we can use one keyword called get. That's all. That's the only thing you have to do. Okay, just by writing this keyword, and this keyword is not coming automatically, is given by the Quarkus. Okay, and Quarkus related library, I can say. Just by adding this line, your job is done. Okay, so Quarkus give this kind of keywords to you. And now again, come back to our actual concept that I started with, right? I told you guys when I started today's discussion, right? Whenever you use any services, okay, mostly you do a CRUD operations, right? Okay, depend upon service. And I told you multiple times, service is equals to, especially the microserver, equals to one function. That's what the function is. Now, because this function is going to give the output, other guys have to read it. So obviously, this is the read operation. But some function can give the options to get the information outside. Someone has to delete the things, someone has to update the things. It depends. Accordingly, my grammar will change. Here we can use the delete. Here we can use the post. And many more things. Right now, I'm just focused on get because get is the simplest thing to see and understand. But we'll add more things in the future. Okay, we talk about query strings, parameters, and 100 more things in upcoming discussion. But this is the simplest thing to understand. Just by adding this keyword. Okay, now this function can be called over the network by the client, from the user, from the browsers, for example. Okay, now you don't need to call the function this way. Okay, you don't need to call the function this way. Okay, and anybody who knows Java, in Java, whatever you want to call you need a main function. Mostly you might not need the main function also if you know a little bit of Java. Okay, just create a function. Every function has functionality. And that's again, now you guys connect the dots. What I started in my last class and today. Chat is one functionality. Search one functionality. Putting the post in LinkedIn one functionality. Every functionality, you write all the codes. But whoever uses this functionality, depend on what you want to provide, that kind of operations, grammar or CRUD operation, whatever they have, you can use here. Okay, it means, again, you don't have to create this API gateway. You don't have to worry about how to connect the dots. And this is how you can, I show you some diagram mapping, right? So Quarkus map this function. How? By this kind of code. Okay. But for this, you need Quarkus installed for this project. So I just create this project only for Java. I don't have the Quarkus here. Okay. But for the Quarkus based project, I already created here where in this folder. So let me load this folder. This folder has the Quarkus based project with us. Okay. So there's the same kind of folder, same Java. You can find same kind of Java source folder here with Java, some source code we have. But this project, we have a Quarkus installed with Maven. So let me load this project. Okay, so from file, let me open new project. Okay, and my project is there actually in the folder called document microservice code. So I'll go to slash documents. Okay, inside the document, we have a folder called microservice code, Okay, sorry, microserver service code. And inside the microservice code, we have a folder called first project. First project is the first folder. We have follow LW app. Let me select this folder where my main code is, and then okay, trust the project. This window only. Okay, this project has been loaded. Okay, and here you can see very quickly because this project been created by Maven. Okay, so a lot of help file, all the things they give to us. Now, one more thing, guys, if you see the left side, there's some sync is going on. Okay, because I load this project in one of the IDE. In my case, is IntelliJ. So IntelliJ needs a lot of plugins actually for Quarkus and Java. Okay, first time when you open, it will download a lot of plugins for you. Okay, so it might again take 5-10 more minutes to get sync. In my case, they have done very quickly because whatever my IntelliJ ID need, that is already downloaded because I opened this kind of project multiple times. So don't start doing anything, just wait for some time. When you see this sync in the left side bottom sync, click, then you can proceed. Okay, this is one thing. So this project, guys, is the same project what I created from the command line, from that big command. Okay, what this project, they give you one simple code, and again with the same simple Java code. But here in this Java code, we can add some Quarkus keywords. Okay, what are those? Okay, so for this, normally, guys, Java code we find in the source folder, SRC folder. So click on the SRC. This normally we manage in this way. And inside SRC, you can see the main folder. Inside the main folder, all the Java code find in Java folder. And Java folder, you can find this folder, com, lw, tech. Why the folder this way? Because this is what we write, right? So when I create this, when you run this big line, this is what my group ID is, or my folder is. This they created. And inside this folder, because my class name is, or my code name is in this folder, hello LW, that's for the file name they create for you. Okay, for you. And guys, this is the sample code given by Quarkus. Okay, so let me copy this code, put it somewhere else. Okay, and let me remove the entire code. Okay, let's say they have a plain file. Again, let me create my code from the scratch as a plain Java code. Then I'll show you how to convert into API or convert into REST API or convert into Quarkus code. Okay, so let's say this is one simple Java code. Class name file is hello LNS world. Okay, you don't have to worry about writing this kind of code. Most of your developer can create for you. Okay, here, guys, I'm going to create one function. Okay, function name, let's say hello function. Okay, and this function is going to return something to me. Let's say they're going to return hello Linux world. And this function is going to return some string. So I'm going to write a string keyword here. And this function can be used by anyone from outside the world. So we can use some public keyword. Public means we are allowing everyone to use this function. So this is pure simple Java code, kind of Pojo, plain old Java code. Okay, but if I run this code, But in this code, they will return the hello world. If I call the function, they return this function, they return this, give output to me. And this output mostly depend on the screen. But I don't want this. I want this function can be mapped or called by outside world. How? Because this function is going to return something, print something. So I want to call with the help of get. Right now, if you see, when I type @G capital, help come up. Why? Because get function is available. Why? Because Quarkus is installed in this project. Okay. So get function is now available. Okay. So with the help of get function, now this function has been exposed. Anybody can call this function. When they call the function run and they return this one. So it means if any client call this function, they will return this particular output. But understand one more small thing. If anybody come, all right, and call this function, who call? Client. What client need? Client need is URL. How you look like? HTTP is a protocol name, then colon IP address, then colon port number. And then normally you write your path also here. What is path? We have a detailed discussion path in upcoming class. Okay, for example, if you talk about Google, right? So in the Google, what I want to do? A protocol, IP address, a port number, and the path. So let's search, we want to launch search app. Or if I write slash mail, then it will open Gmail for you. Okay. So this means I would like to go via HTTP protocol, IP where the application is running, in my case of Windows, port is, okay, Quarkus will give this port, we can change also. Okay. Path is the one who will help us to decide. Okay. Again, guys, this discussion I will do in very detail in our next class, but path is the one. Okay. Through which Quarkus will map the things. So any request come to Quarkus. Quarkus will see the path. If somebody come on /hello, we connect to this function. If somebody can come on /search, we connect to the other function. The path is a one kind of differentiator. Okay. So what we do here, we write here, there's one more keyword called path. And say, if anybody come on path called /search, okay, then we call this class. Or maybe we can write also here. Okay. If somebody come to Quarkus for this path, then we'll call this function. If somebody come on some other path, then we'll call other function. So we'll see more on this. So guys, this concept, I need some time again to explain you this mapping and this path and all the things. That was the complete day plan for my next class. Okay, I'm just trying to give you a very quick demo here, so I can relate this concept in the next class from very basics. Okay, my intention is to show you just some of the terminology and some of the setup to it. But if again, I don't want to write the entire code, but this is what the sample code is written, right? So let me copy paste the sample code again. Okay, so again, this sample code. The sample code says if hello is a normal function, they're going to give this output. Let's say, let me change the output as a hello Vimal or Linux world, for example. Till date, guys, you call a function by calling the function. But now, this function we don't have to call by ourselves. This function will call, client will call on this path. If some client will come on this path, this function automatically run. And will provide this output to the client over the network. But the condition is clients will come via get request. Okay. What are all those products, all the things we will see in the next class. Because when you send some data, what format you want to send it? You want to send it in text format, JSON format, and much more things we will discuss in my next class. So let me run this code one more time very quickly. Okay, you run this code, you know the command. In the command line, you can run here again this command, or you can also run from here also. in the from here terminal, you can run this command also. Okay, or maybe by chance the ID, if you see a readme file, they give one link to run this project. There's multiple way to run same thing, this code. Okay, so guys, again, treat this today's class is a give you high level overview plus some of the same basic terminology plus how to do a setup ready. Okay, so for the next class, have your setup ready so that I will focus more on these keywords given by Quarkus. And by chance, this keyword is known as annotation. So we'll focus on the annotation part. My application started, they are running. Okay, and here my application is exposed on this URL. But if you click on this URL, they will open general basic Quarkus website. I'm not interested. I am interested to run this function. Now, if you run this function, you have to go for this URL. If you go to this URL, the function automatically run. So you go to this URL, hello, function run, and this is what we get the output. It means now this function is exposed over the network. It means if I write something like the 1, 2, 3, 4, save. Okay, and if I refresh, you can see the latest output. They are loading actually. You get the latest output. Okay, you're getting it. The point is, just think, guys, if you know a little bit development, how you run this function, we have to call, right? And we call, they get the output in the same screen or same system. But now we are able to call this function over the network by this URL, by this path. This path sometimes also known as endpoint. Okay, and who will call this path? Okay, by get method means if you open any website with website, they are get method only behind the scene. They see this output or they run the functionality of this output of this function. Okay, but don't worry if you're not able to understand this. There's not the main core thing to understand for today's class. Okay, let me stop this with Control C. This program. So this guy's very quick information. I just want to share you. So just set up the Quarkus, install JDK, install IntelliJ, install Maven, set up Maven, install Quarkus. Okay, means by running this big command, and they give you some sample app. Run the sample app by this command, or maybe you want to change something, just go and change something here. Whatever you know in the programming file, change accordingly. Or if you don't know programming file, I recommend. Otherwise, technically we don't need much about knowledge of programming, but if you know, that's always an extra advantage. We have shared the Java classes to you. Go through the classes and learn it as much as you can. More you know, more things we guys can connect the dots, right? So a lot of the things, guys, I added today. Okay, this part, don't worry, we'll discuss in my next class. Okay, from very basics. Okay, so that's all, guys, from my side. Okay, we'll discuss in my next class. Okay, so anything, guys, any query if you have, you guys can ask me. Manish, the symbol is, we will discuss. The symbol is not yet started, right? So this symbol is known as annotation. Lots of annotations we have. Every annotation will do something in a microservice or in this kind of REST APIs. Okay, there's a complete plan for my next class. I explain this thing from very zero from my next class. Okay. Again, fantastic session. Thank you very much. Yes, Raktim, it looks similar to Python Flask, Python Django, in Flutter. Also, like every language has their own tool for REST APIs. So REST API is not only for Java; it is for every programming language, right? So whichever programming language you know, they give the REST API platform. Okay, but here Quarkus give you this one. But here Point is, right now we are just learning Quarkus and the APIs. That is not only the microservices. This is the basic for the microservices. This is not microservice, guys, by the way. We're setting the building block of the microservices. We are first setting the REST API. What is REST API? We'll discuss more in my next class. After you don't have the entire REST API infrastructure ready, that we're using the help of Quarkus here, you can't go for the actual part of the microservices. Okay, this is one thing. But microservice is not only for Java. Python you can also use. Dart language also you can use. Other language also you can use. Right. So concept-wise, obviously, you will see similar in other world also. Okay. But yeah, in microservice world, Java as a base give you lots of facility, and Java framework will give you a lot more facility that you can't see in other framework. Right. What are those things? We just started today. As we go in advanced part, you will see at that time. Okay. Please take a separate class on SOAP-based services, corporate trainers. Yes, definitely. There is. I might touch. I think in this training we have something on SOAP. So whatever we have, we'll discuss. Otherwise, we might definitely create exclusive part on it, the SOAP base. Okay. So I'll yes, Sanket, guys, I'll provide a recording of today's class. I asked my team. We don't provide a recording, guys, but today a recording I'm providing to you. You can use this recording, especially for use as a setup perspective. Okay. Again, guys, there's lots more basic things, core things about the REST API. I don't want you guys conclude, because there's a lot of missing part from my side because of the time. I can't explain everything today, right? Next class will be give a complete context about REST APIs. Okay, then with Quarkus also, because Quarkus is not only for REST API, is the one extra basic thing they do. Quarkus is much more, right? So I don't want you guys conclude something in today's class. There's Quarkus for REST API. The other two also, why Quarkus? It is not. Quarkus is a very big tool, lots of extra facility they have. REST API is just one of the basic things they do. But yeah, without knowing the REST API, you can't do much, right? So that's what I started today. So don't conclude some of the things today. Just have the setup ready. So in the next class, we'll talk actually the actual concepts. Okay. So Rishabh, if I think you're part of my Java classes, there I discuss about static keyword in my method. So just revise that concept, right? So what is Quarkus and why use Quarkus microservice? That's what as for next class will give you that clarity, right? That clarity to you. Okay. No, Ramesh, it is not working as a reverse proxy. Okay. It's not like a if you work on OpenShift or Kubernetes Docker, they give you load balancers or service called kind of reverse proxy. Actually, it is just part of your app. It is a one single app that give functionality plus the REST API connectivity or API gateway. So my next class will explain you more about it. But yeah, it is not a reverse proxy. Okay. Yes, RBAC we will discuss. So anybody who is the part of microservices training, only microservices or the Red Hat microservices. So we have an advanced Quarkus also, where we talk about the monitoring, metrics, RBAC, security. So for those guys, we will discuss that level of concept also that Quarkus provide. Yeah, anybody who has then system design. So in system design, whatever we need as a microservice, we will discuss. we don't need to know everything about Quarkus, right? So we'll stop at the one point in time, and those who are in the system design, right? The intention is to explain you microservices, right? But those who are in the Red Hat microservice training or only the microservice training, so we'll go this training to next level. And there, Ramesh, I think you are the part of that training. So we will discuss about RBAC, security, and much more about it. Okay. Yeah, I think we can connect Quarkus with Kafka. We have this discussion in my training. We'll discuss. Okay. So what is the main use of Quarkus with microservices? Just give me 2 days, actually, 2 more days at least, to explain you, okay, why we need Quarkus with microservices. Right now, we can think this is a basic class will be going on. I'm explaining the Quarkus, some of the facility what Quarkus provides, especially REST API. After you get that lot of knowledge, then I will slowly transit this class to microservices. Something I keep on explaining to you, but mostly the core part of microservice slowly will transform. Okay. So why no main function? Maybe Anuj, my next class will definitely give this answer to you. Normally, when we write Java code, we write a main function. But why we don't need main function here? It's a good question you asked. My next class will have this answer with me. I explain to you, because when I explain this part properly in detail, then I give you the answer why we don't need main function here. Okay, why we don't need. So we'll discuss this point in time. Okay, so that's all, guys, from my side. I recommend, guys, before the next class, have this setup ready. Okay, that's all the small task you guys can do it. Okay, that's all, guys. See you in the next class with some more detailed discussion on it. Okay, bye. Good and take care.